Well, it's a beautiful day here at Chateau Ste. I'm Wendy Stuckey, white winemaker for Chateau Ste. I'm having a great time making Rieslings here in Washington, and this is just a fantastic event here at the Riesling Rendezvous. We've got over 650 people here this evening tasting Rieslings from all around the world, and it's just a fantastic event.
It's got to be amazing to have an event that's centered on Riesling, because Riesling wasn't really highly thought of even a decade ago.
No, not at all. And so this was an initiative from Chateau Ste itself, and also Dr. Luzin from the Mosel. And so the two companies got together and came up with this idea of showcasing Riesling from producers around the world for not only consumers but the trade, the media, and also producers themselves. So we also have a couple of events during the next couple of days where we have producers only in discussion about making Riesling. No one else is allowed to come, only the producers.
And to me it's exciting because I taste Washington Riesling all the time, but I don't get to taste Austrian or Alsace or Michigan or New York, and they're all here. It's got to be exciting for you as someone who specializes in Riesling.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a great opportunity to talk with winemakers from other parts of the world, just to open your ideas and exchange just different techniques. I mean, for me as a Riesling winemaker, and I enjoy and really love making Riesling. It's just it's not that you're always doing that one style. I mean, it's always great to experience, not only by talking to people, but I guess also working in other regions, which is actually what I ended up doing, coming from Australia here to Washington, and that was solely just to expand my horizons in making Riesling.
Now let's talk about that. You were here 3 years ago. You ran into an old colleague, Bob Berteau.
I did.
And now you work here. How did that
I know. Well,
you just went to dinner and he talked you into it?
In a roundabout way.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I came to the event here in 2007, and I knew Bob. We worked together back in '93 down in California, so we'd sort of been in loose contact over the years, and I hadn't actually realised that he was working here in Washington, and came here and was just amazed really at the wines that Chateau Ste produces, and also the range of wines that they produce. And a lot of those we just can't do back in Australia, and so the opportunity arose that there was a position going, and the next thing I know it, here I am.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Where would you put Washington Riesling in the world of Riesling? Because you've worked in different areas of the world. Where do you kind of place Washington as far as quality and style?
Well, quality-wise, I think Washington, is up there with the best. And every region has its own style and its own attributes. And I think Washington Riesling. I mean, for me, the first thing that I really noticed about the style of Washington Riesling when I came here was just how fruit-driven the wines are, and how they're sort of really centered around the peach aromas and flavors, and it's some of the warmer climates in Washington tend to have more of those apricot flavors, but it's really the acidity that really drives these wines, and I think they're great Rieslings that can be aged, and I think that's something that doesn't happen so much here in the US. I mean, back in Australia, quite often you will see aged Australian Rieslings on wine lists, and I don't tend to see that so much here. So that's something that I really have an interest in with Rieslings here in Washington.
We tend to like our Rieslings fresh here.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's great too. I mean, I love fresh Rieslings, but if you can get a good Riesling that you can put down for 5 to 10 years, I mean, they're amazing wines.
All right. Now you made a Riesling that you call it Wazzy.
The Wazzy.
Yeah, explain that.
Yeah. So we're into our second vintage. So I made the 2008 and 2009 Wazzy Riesling. So it's a name that actually came up from our marketing manager. She was sort of toying over what name are we going to call this wine. So she came up with the Wazzy. So it's a Washington Riesling. It's a Washington Riesling made by an Aussie winemaker,
Okay.
so essentially Aussie.
And it's pretty bone dry, as I recall.
It's not bone dry.
It just tastes
about
like it.
It's about 0.7 residual.
Okay.
But again, you know, Washington acidity makes it taste a lot drier than
Right.
it actually is.
And I've got to ask, how did you talk the boss into letting you put it in the screw cap?
Well, I wasn't going to put it in a bottle if it wasn't going to go under screw cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you did it. Because I think that's the only St. Michelle Riesling that's in a screw
No,
cap.
actually, all of our the Wassie's a wine club wine, and it's available here in the wine shop as well. But in 2008, we actually put our whole range of whites for the wine club and the wine shop under screw cap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean that's a great incentive, and you know we've had some great feedback. It's been really positive.
As an Aussie, that has to warm your heart.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
What when you come to an event like this, I know you're pouring,
Yeah.
but who are you kind of excited to go see? Do you go see your friends from Australia, or do you?
Yeah, I haven't actually got over there yet. I just went to the French contingent, tasted a few wines there. But what happens is you spend a lot of time talking to people that you haven't seen for since 2 years,
Right.
since the last event. So it's a great event just to catch up with people.
Right.
Yeah.
You're enjoying your time in Washington?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Great.
Now the sun's shining. Look at it.
Yeah. It never stopped in Eastern Washington.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
Yeah. Well, Wendy, thanks very much.
Pleasure.